So now you guys get to.
Boy, I hope
think
I did
about
the other
the
one all right.
answer.
And that was
At least
perfect
happen
answers.
first, or early in the semester.
Thank
That's
you,
true.
my lady.
Then it never happens again, you know?
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry, Kate. Could you please share with us, in your imagination, your ideal first kiss?
I'll be standing at a lake, and this tall, dark, handsome, prince-like flowing Fabio will give me a kiss in the sunset.
So you have long flowing hair?
Oh, yes.
Okay. V, how about your first kiss?
I do not have a first kiss yet, but there is a woman I love and care about named Evie. Right now, I want her to understand the truth about the society we live in. And once she does understand, hopefully on that day, she will kiss.
Harvey?
The first kiss, the imagination of the first kiss.
Or
I never-
remembrance of a first
well,
kiss?
the remembering, there was I was young, I was probably 13 years old, I believe, and it was my neighbor. She lived 2 doors down, and I actually never got the kiss. But in my mind, I'd like to go back and be able to have that kiss. I enjoyed her very much when I was younger, and I'd had a crush on her for many years, and I never got to have that kiss with her.
But you fantasized about it.
Of course. It probably shaped me as a man, thinking about that was the drive in women, I think. That was probably, it's always
So
been
does
there.
that mean you were drawn to the unattainable? Or you just idealized?
I just think it didn't, I think timing was bad. I think timing was bad, and I never got to have that moment. So that would be the kiss, if I had the opportunity to go back.
How about for you, Bruce?
For me, it was this girl named Rachel. I was a lot younger. My butler used to watch over us, and we were playing around one time. And I had this habit of falling into a well. And one day she checked to see if I was okay when I fell down. And she asked me if I was hurt. And well, one thing led to another, and that was my first kiss.
And how old were you?
I was like 7 years old.
Okay. Next question. Do you feel you're capable of a long-term relationship?
Oh, I really like my free time by myself. I don't know if I have the time for, men are pretty high maintenance. And I like to read a
And
lot.
you've lived alone a long time, so you're sort of used to that, right?
Yes. I'm very used to having my free time, so I don't think that I could live with a man. I'm not sure if I have time.
V, if things get remedied with the government due to your revolution, do you think you could settle down and have a long-term relationship with Evie?
I hope I do. If not, then I don't know where my life will be like without her.
Harvey, how about you?
Long-term relationship. Still look forward to that in my life. Absolutely.
Now you're divorced now and your daughter's getting married.
Yeah, she is.
And she's close to the stepfather.
Right.
How do you feel about that? I mean, because you've been somewhat estranged.
Well, as any father would be to his daughter, I've lived a life distant at times, and I think I was taught things from my father and mother as well that I've learned later in life that hindered my progress in my relationship with my daughter. And so I guess the question, what's the question specifically? Where do I
Well,
stand?
you said you feel like you could be in a long-term relationship again.
I do, absolutely.
And I was just asking about the situation, because you're divorced. I'm assuming that you had hoped that your first marriage would last and be the long-term relationship.
And these have all been, there's always a learning curve, I think, in life. And I'm absolutely ready for a long-term relationship with the woman. If she could be found, if she could be, she encompasses all the things that, most of the things that I'd find value and believable in sharing together. She's there. But again, I've got a lot to learn, and my family life has not been perfect, and nor have I. So those are the things that I've got to work on to be, not only for my reception, but for someone else to be receptive to me, knowing who I am and where I stand in life. So it's an ever-evolving scenario on both sides of it. And if luck happens and things hit right, then you get the opportunity to have that relationship. And maybe someday.
Bruce, how about for you?
For me, it's tough. In an ideal world, I would love to, but the way that I live my life currently, being a businessman and overseeing a lot of things that go on in the city, providing a lot of jobs, it would be tough, but maybe hopefully when I retire, or when Gotham finds a leader that doesn't require me to always have to be there.
So your responsibilities are too all-consuming now?
I would say so.
Okay. Kate, what's the most tragic thing that's ever happened to you?
I would think the death of my father, and now I need to help my mother. Or when he died, I had to help her with the bills and get everything set up and be the responsible one since he took care of everything. So I have a lot of responsibility with my mother.
Do you have any siblings that can
I
help?
do not. I'm only child. No help.
And what's your mother's health condition?
She's okay. She's just not very responsible.
Oh, okay. V, outside of the government, what's the most tragic thing that's ever happened to you?
Alas, the government is the most tragic thing that ever happened to my life. It all began when the government took away my parents and killed them. Then they took away to a facility where they tortured me and used me for experiments. Then an accident occurred which gave me an opportunity to escape, and now to this day I venge for the society for what they have done to me. A vendetta against the High Chancellor.
So the High Chancellor is an immoral man in your estimation?
He is. And I do have moral sense, even though they do see me psychopathic.
Do you think that collateral damage is acceptable as part of a revolution?
Yes, I do.
Harvey, what's the most tragic thing that's happened to you?
My mother passed away a couple of years ago. That was very hard on the entire family. I've got two older brothers that live across country, very busy with their families. My dad's still living around in hospice care, and I don't see him as much.
So you were closer to your mother then?
I think we all were. And when she passed, it just kind of the last couple of years, there's been a void, and I don't talk much to my brothers. Just they're busy with their families, and my daughter as well. She was close with her grandmother, and it's just been distant. It's been hollow times. No one seems to look in on the other person. It seems like, but I've been very busy with my work too, and my career slowed down a lot, and finding worth kind of is time consuming.
Understandable. Bruce, how about you?
Probably for me, it would be the death of my parents. We went to go see a movie, and then we walked out, and some guy tried to rob him, and he shot him. And that changed my life forever. My butler had to look over me. It was hard growing up. I didn't have any guidance or anybody to be that surrogate mother and father for me. And pretty much had to grow up a lot faster than everybody else that I knew. But I didn't have too many friends growing up. So.
Did you have survivor's guilt? Did you?
I mean, I was a little boy,
Yeah.
so it was tough for me to feel that. It was more of a question as to why, and that kind of made me think of wanting to try to do more for this city as I was growing up. So
that wouldn't happen to another family.
yes. Exactly.
Kate, how do you want to be remembered after you die?
Oh, if I could be a great novelist, that would be like the most amazing thing ever.
V?
For me, I do not want to be remembered. I want the people to remember the 5th of November and what it symbolizes. Only then they'll understand who is V.
Harvey?
My family, when I'm gone, hopefully that line is, not immortalized, but I would love to know that I'm remembered as a significant part of our family, that there's love and you've accomplished, strong relationships have grown, and we know that as we carry on. I'd rather it be different than it has been for the last several years. I think that I just really want to make sure that my daughter knows, and her kids and so on, that their grandfather, great-grandfather, and was a strong bond for our family, as opposed to a distant thought. No.
Bruce, how about you?
For me, I hope people remember me as a successful businessman in a city that doesn't have too many of those. Just trying to carry on my father's legacy in terms of bettering the city, in terms of its infrastructure, furthering technology, and hopefully being a beacon of hope for those who didn't have parents growing up, who they can have somebody to kind of look up to, younger kids, and just inspiring people.
Thank you very much, everyone.